if you think of it as a hierarchy, what we have at the top of that hierarchy is the core voice. So that is when it's looked at all your different speaking or writing styles and extracted what's common across all of them. How do you always talk? And that'll be at the top. And then it'll have like little almost subunits underneath for this is the story specifics. This is the how to specifics. This is when I'm coaching and encouraging and nurturing somebody, and anything else that you use in your writing. And again, you're not some people don't do the coaching thing, or some people, well, most people probably would tell the stories and do the how type stuff and do the explanation and do the, but and if you're not sure about this, by the way, just take a sample of your writing, take a chapter from a book, or take a series of blog or newsletter posts, put them into the AI and just ask the AI to kind of pull out what are the different styles of writing here in terms of stories, how to, etc. And it'll do that for you, and then and point you at which bit is what. If you're really sitting there looking at it thinking, I don't know exactly what to do here, have the AI guide you through the process. And just ask in plainness. If you can articulate what you want, you don't need to be able to craft the prompt. The AI can do the prompt for you. If you can just articulate the outcome you want, what you're trying to learn, the AI will be able to do it for you. So yeah, so you've got this hierarchy with the core voice at the top and then the different kind of sub voices. And the AI pretty much, it's pretty smart, hopefully still non-sentient, but it's pretty smart right now. So if it's trying to tell a story, it knows to go to the story box. If it's editing, and you've told a story, it knows to go to the story box. And beauty of this, and again, if you're doing this, you're probably in the top 1% of people using AI to help them to either write or draft or edit, because nobody's setting this up. And we've been trained, and this is how I first learned to do it as well. You take a writing sample, you drop it in, and you get a set of instructions. But the problem there is because we write in different ways, depending on what we're trying to communicate, you end up, it's not the same as the AI slot problem, but it's kind of like a personalized version of that, where you get an amalgam of all the different writing styles. So it's not great at telling stories the way you tell stories. It's not great at doing a step by step the way you do a step by step. It's the mean average of all the different ways all the different styles you have of writing or speaking. And that's why this is so important. The AI is more than capable of knowing which one to pick at the time, depending on what it is you're trying to explain to someone.
To me, it's just so cool because as you said, like if I'm writing in like my friendly style, that is going to be completely different to if I'm writing in my professional newsletter style or whatever
Mhm.
style it is. And I think it's really cool to even think if you're someone who's new to blogging or writing, you can literally just create 4 bits of content. You can create a how to bit of content. You can create a personalized bit of content. It might take you 2 hours to sit there and write 4 pieces of content. But once you've done that, you can actually get that bot to identify those different traits in you. So this is to me, it's mind blowing because I was doing what you were doing as well, just doing the
Mm.
one style. So
Yeah.
having these 4 different styles, I think is just going to sound so much more authentic.
Yeah. And the one style, that's the kind of like I said earlier, that's the sort of quick and dirty version. And it's certainly better than not doing it at all. And it'll be much less generic if you do, even if you did just that. But if you're willing to spend a few extra minutes setting it up at the beginning, and I say you don't have to analyze this, you don't need to be an English professor. The AI can do a much better job than pretty much any of us at extracting this stuff. All you have to do is paste in the sample, paste the prompt in, put the sample in the little sample box and hit enter, and it's going to give you the raw material that you need to put into that master prompt. And I mentioned something else as well, because you mentioned you talked about your professional newsletter voice versus a different voice. If you have particularly different writing styles that go beyond just the storytelling or the narrative, etc. If you have let's say you have a blog and it's a very kind of professional orientated blog, and then you have something else and it's a bit more kind of conversational, a bit more humorous, you probably want to build out 2 style guides, one for each. Because again, if you try and have the serious stuff with the conversational stuff, you're going to get an average of the two, and it's not really going to sound like either. So if you have, let's say you're working on a book project and you've got your voice is a little bit different for that to, let's say, your social media posts, create one for each. If you're doing something for email and you have a particular style for email, it's a slightly different way of communicating with people. So it might be a little bit different. Maybe it's a bit more salesy. Maybe there are a few more calls to action. So maybe you create one of these for your email. Once you've done one, by the way, it's starting to sound like a lot of work, but it's not really, because again, the AI does the heavy lifting every single time. And once you've built one of these, it's really easy. The process is quite straightforward to build something else out for a different type of writing.
Absolutely. I totally
Yeah.
agree with you. And that's the thing is like, if you don't spend the time to do this, you're going to be writing the posts anyway. So you may
Yeah.
as well do the extra. It might be an extra 2 to 3 hours of actually building out these 4 bits of content and then making potentially the first bot. And then, okay, yeah, you might have to make a second bot, but you've already got 80% of the work done because you've already made a first bot. So I just think all of this is amazing and mind blowing. And like, I totally agree with you in the saying of if you're doing something that's really professional, that is going to be so much different from something that's a little bit more personalized. Would you say we could use the same bot for, say, a blog post as a Facebook post and social media post? Or would you even separate out from blogging to social media?
I think that's the answer to that is kind of personal because it depends if you write the same way. You probably know if somebody's listening to this, they probably know kind of intuitively whether it can be the same or not. But if you're not sure, just go back and read a couple of posts. If you're still not sure, put them into AI and say, are these in the same sort of style? And if they're not, kind of tell me why they're different. So again, we don't want to over finesse this. So if it's broadly similar, you might be okay just having the one. But yeah, if you have, and again, you want a certain amount of congruence if it's the same audience. But if you have a Facebook style, if you have your newsletter style, if you have your email style, you can build out a separate writing bot for each one of these different things.
If you want to watch the entire episode, click here. And if you want to watch more episodes like this, click here.